Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You got a great car, great team. We'll execute. Our time. We know what we got to do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction.
Side by side, hammer down.
The afterchecks are lit. Count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. What a victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag is going to end it.
Does he have enough? A dominant performance.
You gotta stay down, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can. Get it. One final shot.
Gotta earn this thing. Right here to the end.
It is all on the table.
Total 500.
This is my moment now. I will be number one. They said this is how it's gonna be done. Set fire. Gonna end the game. Set fire. Gonna make a name. Set fire. Oh, you'll remember this. I'm not gonna miss, 'cause I deserve this.
Good evening, race fans, to the kickoff of the Sunday Night Showdown wrapped by JB Premier Series live from Daytona International Speedway. Drivers taking the grid, getting their last-minute preparations. It's a large field here on the starting grid tonight. I think I see at least 35 to 36 drivers out there, so a lot of drivers will be contending here for the first race of the season. Now, once again, as we start to head into tonight's race here at Daytona International Speedway, it's going to be a lot of things to worry about, Jacob. There's going to be drivers that are new to here. There's going to be seasoned veterans that are going to want to start off with the season with a best possible result that they possibly can. I mean, there's a lot on the line here tonight for these drivers.
Yeah, and that's all it is when it comes to Daytona in a new season. We get new drivers, new faces, people we haven't seen before. And these guys are going to try to win anytime they can throughout this season. And it's also good to see a lot of newcomers in the league here tonight, especially because we didn't really have that big of a field last season, but now we have a great sized field for Season 5 of the Wraps by JB Premier Series. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these drivers tonight.
Yes, it is. And let's go ahead and go down our starting lineup here so we can introduce these drivers to you guys out there. Row number 1, we have Austin Edstrom with the pole. Joseph Kazi, defending series champion, will be to his outside. Thomas Stokes will be joined by Jordan Tross in row number 2. As we head back to row number 3 with the Philip Brewer and Curtis White. Row 4, Keegan Sabilo, who had a great clash. He looks to have a good start here, joined by his outside to Trevor Brownlee. Derek Garrison and Kyer Mullaney will make up row number 5. Row number 6, we head back to Bryce Shoemaker and Cody Manson. Row 7, we see Jordan Berry, Reese Schaefer. This one that you'll have to watch out for. He's got a lot under his belt for trophies, championship trophies. Aaron K, Max Services will make up row number 8. Row number 9, we head back to Colby Jackson and Nick Jezabowski. Row 10, Justin Day, Carson Neal. Row 11, we head back to Reese Hamilton and Seth Berger. Row number 12, we introduce Patrick Formali and Justin Levine. Formoil, my bad. And then Ian Blanchard and Judson Curtis will be in row number 13. Right behind him in row number 14, Xavier Fontes, and then James Bolka. Row 15, John Wilson and Jim Foskett. Back behind them in row number 16, Chuck Sweeting and Sheldon Atkins. In these last couple of rows, row 17, we have Christopher Hodges, and then Chase Galvin. And then back in the last row, we have Keith Shoemaker, joined by Nick Osapek. So that'll make up our 36 drivers. Jacob, that's a lot of drivers to try and get all mentioned here, but we did it. And again, a big field here to kick off race number 1 of the season. Let's take a look at our weather display as well real quick. Temperature right now, 71 degrees. Track temp, nice and cool, 75. Winds, not too much. We know sometimes winds at the super speedways here can be sort of a issue, I'd say. But tonight it looks like it's going to be pretty nice for these drivers, as long as it doesn't continue to get further up there in speeds. Now we do have a stage at lap 25, Jacob. That's going to be something that these drivers are going to be highlighting. Even though it is a 70-lap race, you know, you want to be able to get that stage at 25 and have a good portion of this race. A lot that these drivers will have to deal with, as we are just moments away from taking the green flag.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of action to get to that stage. See if these drivers can make it to the stage. If they cannot, what strategy will hold for them, as I believe the pace car is about to roll off here, and we are going to get set for a great race.
Yeah, pace car is off. Field in the hands of Austin Edstrom, Joseph Kazi. Let's kick off race number 1 of the Raps by JB Premier Series, live from Daytona International Speedway, as we get these drivers all set to go into turn 1. And even start, Jacob. These lines, they're probably not going to be too crazy for this first lap as they get up to speed, but we probably will see 3 wide later on in this race.
Yeah, we will definitely see 3 wide later on. This is basically your typical super speedway racing right now, 2 by 2, as Kazi will take the lead from Austin Edstrom. He will probably end up leading this lap. But who knows, the 79 on the outside of Jordan Trask says otherwise. He is side by side and got a decent lead, and he will lead that lap.
Yeah, good pushes there on the outside. Jordan able to get that lap led. It was a close one, though. Kazi on the inside, and like we mentioned there when running down the grid, defending series champion, a great qualifying lap, puts him out towards the front. He tries to take that lead back on the inside, but Jacob, we know these super speedways, you got to be careful on the pushes, and you don't want to be too aggressive early on.
Yeah, you don't want to be too aggressive early. I believe we still do have 1 fast repair in the series, so 1 fast repair going into the race. You don't want to use it early. And there's a lot of drivers in the field tonight as we look on board with Jordan Trask and how he's holding on on that outside lane. And man, he is doing a great job keeping that wheel straight.
Yeah, I mean, just the sort of talent it takes to run the super speedways. You know, some people like to say it takes luck, but it also takes talent. You need to be able to push, but also be able to take a push. And if you're the 79er Jordan Tross, I mean, really, you know, we've seen him in this series before a few times. We also, I mean, I've broadcasted a few races that he is a part of in different leagues as well. So I know that that 79 has speed. The question is, though, does he have the luck as well? As we come around to another lap, these two drivers, they're going to remain side by side once again at the line. And I think Jordan's going to lead that lap just barely again. But Kazi and Edstrom on the bottom making some pretty decent work there, remaining pretty close for the top spot.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of guys weaving in and out in the pack here. And if you're a driver in that back of the pack, that may scare you a little bit to want to come to the front of the field, because that could cause an accident, as we're going to see Jordan, I believe that was, go to the inside, and someone was in the middle lane. Couldn't quite see who it was the 93.
That's Curtis White in the 93, yeah. Got shuffled into the middle, and boy, Jacob, you see him just get shuffled back through the field, continuing to not have a spot in line. The high side and the bottom lane, those guys are just freight training White there, who unfortunately is gonna go down and lose some more spots here, as we lost the feed there for a second. So go ahead and just give me 1 second, folks, as we get this pulled back up. But back up at the top spot, I mean, these guys are really starting to get, I wouldn't say aggressive, but they're starting to feel the pressure here. Again, White just getting shuffled back there a moment ago as we try and get the feedback up here quickly. Let's see if we can get things figured out here. Again, apologies for that. I think this should be... There we go. So back up at the top few spots here. Now Kazi able to take the race lead away, and then they battle it out a little bit further back. You see that top line has kind of been shuffled, sort of that inside lane shuffled back a bit as we see a caution, or we see a wreck a little bit further back, and now it looks like a caution will come out on the racetrack. And again, I apologize for this. I'm not quite sure what happened with the iRacing feed, as we'll try and get it back up here on the main screen. But caution number 1 of the night will come out here as we try and get the overlay back up here momentarily. But Jacob, as we go back to sort of going back to the early portions of this race, you know, you need to be able to you know, you can rely on that fast repair, but you don't want to have to count on it too much. You know, you don't want to have to use it by lap 4, lap 5 in the race. And right now, I think we actually see a caution that can, and probably have to force some of these guys to use that fast repair.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate part of it. These wrecks early on hurt a driver more than they help. As we get a look at the drivers facing under caution now, using the fast repair early is, again, something you don't want to do, especially this early on, lap 7 of 70. You know, because you expect there to be more wrecks early on or later on, and we still haven't had the big one. That's something to talk about as well. That has not occurred just yet. So still going to watch for that as well and see if that will take place here tonight.
Yeah, we know the big one at the super speedways is really just a matter of time. And as we roll around to the first caution of the night, we'll do a look at it here so that we can figure out how exactly this one happened. We'll go back to the replay screen here in just a moment once we figure out the correct spot of this, and it looks like it's gonna happen sort of in the mid-pack area. Oh, it looks like it's gonna involve Ian Blanchard and I believe the 13.
I believe the 13 would be Sheldon Atkins, so those two.
Yeah.
Having an unfortunate start to their race.
Alright, so as we get this pulled up, let's go and take a look and see what happened here. A little bit further back in the pack, you'll see the 74, the 13 together here. Oh, it looks like a checkup on the bottom from the 37 and the 24. That didn't really cause it, though. It really looked like it sort of was its own incident within itself. I mean, if we go back, yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like Atkins was trying to go to the inside of Ian Blanchard, and when that checkup happened on the bottom, it kind of forced those drivers in a weird position to where they didn't necessarily have to, I guess, check up in a way. They really just had to try and avoid it as best they can. And unfortunately, they ran out of space there, and that you see Atkins getting into the left rear of the 74 of Ian Blanchard. So Ian, unfortunately, getting a little bit of damage in that, but he should relatively be fine and not have to use that fast repair here. But Zala, like you're talking about, this fast repair, it's handy, but you don't want to have to rely too early on it. But I mean, that's kind of what, you know, we kind of expected. Like we just mentioned, probably a big wreck happening at some point in this race, and that's the first wreck that's at least involving 2 to 3 drivers. So not necessarily a big wreck, but definitely something that some drivers will probably keep their eye on here.
Yeah, I agree. These drivers definitely need to be cautious now, especially Ian Blanchard and Sheldon Atkins now with no fast repair. If I were them, I would probably stick more towards the back and try to avoid any wrecks that happen, because this ain't the first wreck of the last. There are going to be plenty more wrecks as we go out through the 70 laps. Not a whole lot. I don't expect like 15 cautions, but there's going to be a couple more. That's for sure.
Well, we'll get these guys back set and ready to take the green flag once again here in just a moment. Only 9 laps in. We'll be coming around to lap 10 here when we get the green flag. And if you might have noticed there's some sort of driver lane choice being decided. Jacob, this series is a little bit different, unique sort of aspect to it. You can choose your lane. You just you really don't see that in a lot of leagues, but here those drivers get that freedom. It's just kind of like what you'd see in real life with the choose cone.
Yeah, and the choose cone is a great addition to the league, as it allows drivers to pick the lane that they want to be in. So that helps out a lot. Maybe you gain a couple spots picking a lane that somebody else didn't. It's a whole game with the choose cone, and I do like that addition to the league.
All right, well, let's get ready to take the green flag once again. Pace car is off. Hands back in the field of Joseph Kazi, Austin Edstrom in the restart zone we go. Green flag back in the air. Kazi with a great start. He's able to clear up to the top side of Austin Edstrom. Cody Manson as well right there in that top, being that third car on the high line. Looks like they'll pretty much get it sorted out fairly quickly, and a lot of these guys now moving to the high side. And just as those guys were kind of getting it sorted out, I mean, you see a lot of these guys start to run that top side, which I think is kind of what you see out of drivers who just want to ride around, not necessarily wanting to push the issue too much. You still see at least some drivers who maybe want to try and get their hand into leading a lap or working themselves up a few spots, trying to take advantage of these guys who are running single file on the high side. And right now, that group is led by the driver of the 57, Trevor Brownlee.
Yeah, and Brownlee trying to make a charge on that bottom side, but it doesn't seem like he has a lot of help. There are a lot more cars on that top side than there are on the bottom. As now Trevor moved, and there's two guys that go down to the apron. Oh, a couple guys going down to the apron. Wow! That's going to shake everything up on the bottom side and leave a lot of cars on that bottom hanging.
Yeah, that was an odd thing that happened right there, and actually it looks like they're going to get together further back as we have a wreck now into 3 and 4. Again, I think that really had to do with what happened going down the backstretch there. Looks like Sheldon Atkins is involved in this one as well. So a rough start here for the driver of the 13 who has been involved in the first 2 wrecks, but that was a kind of a, I don't really quite know what happened there. I'm assuming there probably was a checkup of some sort that forced those drivers down there, but that was an odd and fairly weird look as they shuffled down the back straightaway there.
Yeah, there were a couple of drivers swiping down to the apron. I was a little confused on what was going on. It seemed like maybe they were battling some loose cars, race cars. I don't know, but then all of a sudden a wreck happened right behind them.
And we'll go and take a look at that one here. Quick caution after the first caution. So 2 early cautions here to start off this race. However, again, sort of a smaller wreck, not really capturing a lot of drivers in this one, but again, Atkins in the 13, unfortunately having a rough start to this race. And let's go back and take a look at this quick. So Sheldon Atkins back further in the pack. You start to see him check up in front here. You see him way ahead, and it looks like yeah, it looks like maybe he just got clipped there from, oh, they were 4 wide there. And that 47 of Jim Foskett, he was one of those drivers who got slow, but yeah, that I mean, 4 wide here is very difficult, but that, I mean, really kind of did it.
Yeah, it looks like the 13 was trying to shoot a gap, and the 47 was a little bit slower, not expecting him to be there, and they just kind of made contact. Nothing too crazy in that aspect. Yeah, Jim's a little slower here in that 47. That 13 is hauling. He's going to try and get around him, and just not enough room.
And we, you know, we saw those guys check up ahead, which is why the 47 of Jim Foskett was so much slower. It wasn't because he was, you know, trying to be slow out there on track. He was checking up for the wreck in front of him, which ultimately, unfortunately, cost him. But I guess not necessarily cost him, but it actually started, unfortunately, a secondary incident as well. So we'll go back and take another look at it here from Sheldon Atkins, who, again, still relatively keeping pace. And then you'll see him go 3, then 4 wide right there, bouncing off one another, and unfortunately gets shot down and goes for a ride.
Yeah, he went for a wild ride, and again, he was already caught up in one incident. It doesn't look like the damage is too bad on that car, so hopefully it's not bad. He's hoping it's not that bad, so he can get back out there and continue to race with the big boys out here tonight.
Yeah, let's see where this checkup really originated from in front. So the 79, the 22, 57, somewhere on this bottom lane right about now. Oh yeah, they just checked up Zala. That's just kind of, that's really Daytona. You know, you maybe have a good push or a bad push and really close in on the guy in front of you. Then, unfortunately, because of that, you know, you really don't have anywhere for the guys behind you to go, and it really just accordion effect right there behind him, which is why so many guys slowed up. They thought there was going to be a bigger issue, but they got it sorted out until the guys a little bit further back got collected.
Yeah, and that sometimes happens. It's super speedway racing. That'll happen from time to time, and these guys will get it back together here, and we will go for another run at it. Again, lap 14 of 70, 25 lap is the stage. So these guys are now just kind of buying time till the stage at this point.
Yeah, and that stage will be coming up pretty quickly here once we get the green flag once again. And again, still having 35 drivers on the lead lap. Currently, one driver is sitting 2 laps down. That's Chase Galvin in the 69 machine, who is currently 2 laps down after 14 laps into this race. So again, still having a lot of the field out here without either being a lap down or without damage. Obviously, the 2 drivers who are hoping for a little bit better here on this restart would be the 13 of Sheldon Atkins and then the 74 of Ian Blanchard.
Ozzy and Edstrom up front still doing a great job staying 1-2. And we'll see if they can continue that throughout the night.
Well, we're about to find out again, Jacob, as the pace car pulls off onto pit road. Field once again in the hands of Kazi Edstrom, the front row. Green flag back in the air. Brownlee, that 3rd car on the inside in that 57 as we get back up to speed here.
That bottom side led by the 57 of Trevor Brownlee. He's going to try to get up there with those front runners on the high side. Now a bigger line on the inside, so it's going to be a little bit easier for these guys to stay with the top pack with the front. We'll see if he can get side by side with Joseph Kazi and maybe lead a lap as he's going to track Edstrom down. And yeah, they are right there.
Oh boy, that was close. A little bit of contact between Brownlee into the left rear of Edstrom. Jacob, that turn 4, it will be tricky, and we saw it right there. It almost bit Brownlee there on the inside lane, who washed up a bit.
Yeah, he's lucky that didn't cause a chain reaction, because that could have ended badly real quick. So luckily for him, it was just that little bobble there from Edstrom and his contact, and nothing else happened. As those guys on the bottom are weaving back and forth, they're going to have to get this thing straightened out if they want to get side by side with the leader, as Barry's going to jump down to the inside now.
Yeah, Jordan Barry in the 7, he decided that even with that, he's going to go down there and try and make... Oh, Brownlee!
Oh, Brownlee got turned, and he's going to speed for the pit, I believe. We will have a black flag cleared for that, as there's nothing he can do there. But Brownlee, unfortunately, going to be outside of the pack. And a push gone off.
Yeah, I believe that push came from Kyer Mulaney in the 22. Saw him slow, having to check up because of that. So he loses a bunch of ground, and well, you see what that did to the field here, Jacob. Really single file these guys out for the moment. All these guys kind of just working the top side, trying to avoid any more incidents at the start of this race.
Yeah, and these guys now going to be strung out, trying to make their moves, get to the stage caution with no issues. And we're going to see that a lot in this race. I'm sure we're going to see more racing as we get to the end of this race, but for now, these guys just want to keep their cars clean.
So far up at the front, these guys have worked together. These guys being Joseph Kazi, Austin Edstrom, they've been able to work well and take the point for the majority of this race. You see the 2 of Cody Manson right there in 3rd, hanging with them as well. Philip Brewer in 4th. Then you have Keegan Sobilo running in 5th, rounding out the top 5. Right now, majority of these guys, mostly single file, but we look right back here. That's Bryce Shoemaker in the 54, currently the odd man in the middle, getting shuffled back, losing a bit of ground. Oh, no!
Oh, a big wreck. Justin Levine involved. Aaron Kay, Jordan Trask, Bryce Shoemaker. It wasn't really as big as I thought it would be, but that was a decent-sized wreck on lap 19.
Yeah, definitely. It could have been a lot worse, but still taking out a good portion of these drivers here. You see at least a heavy hit there from Justin Levine into the outside wall. Bryce Shoemaker, who is just getting shuffled back, unfortunately getting caught up right there in the middle. But yeah, we'll go back and we'll take a look at this one, which it looks like Justin Levine has unfortunately towed to pit road, so he'll have to use his fast repair, and he will go down a couple laps under this caution after what was a heavy hit to the outside wall into 1 and 2.
Yeah, the big wreck. They're decent-sized wreck there. Took out some good cars. Still about 30, 40 laps to go here in this race. So these guys are going to have to figure it out quick. As we have 5 laps to go until the stage. I'm not quite sure if this will be the stage. I'm assuming it won't be the stage.
Yeah,
Joseph Causey, Austin Edstrom, and Cody Manson doing a great job out front tonight.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the stage. It'll be fairly close to being the stage, but we still should get a lap or two to complete the stage out. But before we set our eyes on the end of the stage, I mean, let's go back and take a look at this wreck that happened into 1 and 2. Taking Justin Levine, the Shoemaker, Trask, and others.
Oh, it looked like Aaron Kay just was in the wall and came off the wall, and it just caused a chaos behind him.
Yeah, a lot of chaos definitely occurred right there. I mean, like you said, Aaron Kay looks like he maybe got a bit tighter or loose, got into that wall, then came down, getting contact from the 79, which then sent him right down the track into the right rear of Justin Levine, who goes nose first into that outside wall. We'll take a look at it again right here. Boy, what a hit there from Justin Levine.
Yeah, Levine hard into the wall. Again, he had to tow, so he must have blown his engine with that hit. So hopefully he's able to get back out there and maybe get some laps back, but that's kind of another part of Daytona. Somebody gets into the wall, stuck on the wall, and calamity happens behind him. Go on board with Bryce Shoemaker.
Yeah, it's getting shuffled back here, and you'll see him just nowhere for him to go.
You can just see the 19 car, like almost not even flipping, just getting off the air on top of his roof or his hood a little bit there.
Yeah, that was a very vicious hit out of the 19, and again, you know, like you said, obviously having a tow, that's, you know, he's gonna spend some time there on pit road, a decent chunk, and he will probably be stuck a few laps down for a while, but I mean, boy, what a tough start to tonight's race for some drivers, but I think Levine definitely having the hardest hit so far.
Yeah, Levine having the hardest hit so far. The race ain't over yet, so definitely watching it. Oh, what a grueling hit there. Yep, his engine blew. There it is. That is why he had to tow. I had a feeling that would have been the case.
Yeah, and eventually came to a stop in the grass, but like you said, had to tow, and boy, that's going to be a tough one for Justin, who, you know, when we come into the Sunday Night Showdown series, really you look to him to be a contender. And unfortunately, this is going to really sting to the start of his season. But still a lot of drivers left in this thing, and we will have a little bit of a quick shootout to end the first stage here.
Yeah, there's some guys I see, some veterans I see up front from last season. Joseph Kazi, the reigning champion. Reese Schaefer waiting in the wings there behind Keegan Sabilo, a newcomer to the series. So there's some guys out here that want to get some stage points, some veterans. There's also some rookies out there as well.
Yeah, rookies, veterans. I mean, we got a good mixture here this season. Like you just mentioned, we got the two champions in the league up towards the front here. Now, the lucky thing for these guys as well is that they haven't had to worry about a green flag pit stop quite yet, but that could be an issue if we do go green here after this stage. So we'll have to look out for that. You know, Jacob, just as well as I do, first race of the season, you probably won't be too accustomed to making green flag pit stops, and you'll maybe see some drivers making mistakes there if we do see that green flag pit stop.
Yeah, and it definitely helps if you have some teammates. The pace car rolls off, and we are going to get ready to go back green at Daytona.
In the restart zone we go. Green flag back in the air. Kazi with a great push from behind from Sabilo. Now going to the top side to get that help from Edstrom. Those two guys are going to be side by side on the top and the bottom. And actually it looks like a little bit of a stack up there on the top side. That's going to open up the door for Sabilo to put himself to the race lead.
And Keegan Sabilo made a name for himself in the Clash, and he's looking to try and get some very much needed stage points early on in the season. Schaefer gonna give him a big shot down the back straightaway into turn 3 as Kazi's gonna go to the middle. Just bouncing to the middle there. I don't know what was going on, but Kazi leading that outside lane as we get to the start finish line.
Yeah, Kazi, it looked like he might have had a moment, but able to get that sorted out, but still hooked together with Austin Edstrom behind him. Now they have 3 cars on the top, 3 cars on the bottom. It's going to be a pretty even race down the back straightaway here. The advantage going to go to the top side here for just a moment, as here comes Joseph Kazi once again. Reese Schaefer there trying to push the 77 in front of him, but Kazi clear for maybe a second, not quite able to get fully down. We'll see the stage here and in just a moment at the end of lap 25. So these guys know that this last little portion, they know what's on the line and they're going to be aggressive.
Yeah, and there's 3 wide, 3 by 3 by 3 back in the pack a little bit. So these guys out here racing aggressive for some stage points. Remember, it's only the top 10 that get stage points. 3 by 3 by 3. Adkins, the 44, Colby Jackson, a bunch of guys out here 3 wide, but it's going to be Kazi out front leading to get that number 1 position in the stage.
And he's got great help from behind, but here comes Edstrom. Oh, that could have been very bad, almost a bad block. Edstrom was able to check up just a bit, and as they race to the line, it looks
Cody
like
Manson on the yellow, on the yellow line there.
3 at the
Kazi's gonna get it. Oh wow!
Oh boy! Wow, Jacob, that was intense there. You saw the block from Kazi to Edstrom there into 3, almost sent those two for a wild ride, but Edstrom able to check up enough and have room behind to not get any more contact to send Kazi around, but that really shook things up, and Manson almost took that stage away.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I did see Manson on the yellow line as well, so I'm not sure that's gonna quite affect his positioning, but man, he was using all of the track to try and get around Joseph Kazi to get that stage win.
All right, let's go take a quick look at the end of that stage, that wild stage that really was so close there, and it looked like it could have gone 1 or 2 rays, but Kazi, I believe, took that. We'll take a look at it here, though. And we'll go back a little bit further where you see the initial almost block right there. Checked up that inside lane pretty decently.
Yeah, and then Manson goes down to the bottom. Manson gets pushed down to the inside. And no, maybe Manson won it.
Oh, that's so, yeah.
I couldn't quite tell, but it looked like Manson won the stage there.
That's what it kind of looks like to me. I think Manson might have just barely nudged out Kazi there at the last second. Yeah, we'll see right here. And slow-mo, and oh boy, that's so close. I don't know if we can really play it.
No, it was Kazi. Kazi got him. Wow.
Wow.
Look at how close that was, though.
That is super close right there, Jacob. I don't think we've ever seen anything come down to that close in the Wrapped by JB Premier Series.
Yeah, I haven't seen it as close as I have raced in this league, or as long as I've raced in this league, I haven't seen a finish close like that for a stage, rather. That was impressive.
Now the field going to work themselves down pit road, so yes, it looks like Kazi did come out with the stage win. But boy, that was so close by Manson, and again, you saw him go under the yellow line there, but after looking at it, you know, I don't think there's really any harm to that. Looks like he really got forced down there with a little bit of slight contact, so it wasn't like he cranked that wheel left to go down there.
No, I think that was fair game, and also he didn't advance position either, so I think that was all fair game. Nothing bad to look at there, and it'll be the 8th who is, I believe, leading. Is that Seth Berger? That's Seth Berger, I believe, correct?
Yes, that is, and yeah, it looks like he is gonna stay out here. We have 4 drivers who stayed out. The rest of these guys, though, coming down pit road to at least either take tires or top off on fuel. So the top 4 currently stayed out under this caution after pitting under that caution about 6 laps ago. So, you know, really, I wouldn't say too much strategy being played, but, you know, maybe trying to gain some track position here.
Yeah, and Seth Berger, you know, a guy I've known for a little while, a great racer on the track, very fast, so to see him up front is not a surprise. So we will see if he can maybe get something done here tonight. Maybe we'll get a good strategy call and get a win.
Well, let's look at our race recap so far on the night as we work ourselves under caution. This should be the one to go, though, but current race leader, Seth Berger, who we just talked about, 27, now 28 out of the 70 laps completed. As we work here under caution, this will be our 4th caution. So 4 cautions in 28 laps, not too bad here. 4 lead changes. Obviously, we've seen Joseph Kazi and Austin Edstrom, those 2 working very well there during that first stage. Look for them to work together here once we get the green flag again. Most laps so far, though, goes to our defending series champion, Joseph Kazi. And then our fastest lap goes to Judson Curtis, who is a little bit further in the field last time I checked. Right now, he'll restart in 5th, but able to get that fastest lap of the race. And, you know, that fastest lap of the race will probably change a few times here throughout this race, Jacob. I know, depending on where you run, you can really build up a good run.
Yeah, it'll help out if you're in the back of the pack. You'll be able to get faster in the back rather than the front. So the fastest lap, always going to be a new name as long as you're fast in the back of the pack.
All right, and as we work ourselves through turns 3 and 4, we will be seeing the green flag this time by. So we'll see what these drivers have in store for us for the final stage of this race. Jacob, we have yet to determine if we'll see these guys make a green flag pit stop or not, but I'm sure this restart is going to be a little crazy. You'll have guys that want to probably work themselves back up towards the front, those being probably Joseph Kazi, Austin Edstrom, and maybe even Reese Schaefer as well. Trevor Brownlee finds himself right behind in that mix as well, currently holding on to 10th position.
Yeah, these guys are going to try and make it to the front. Pace car rolls off, and we're going to go green flag racing here at Daytona. Berger will lead them down to the green.
Berger leads the field and 1 and 2, getting up to speed here. He's got Joseph Kazi behind him on the top side, making some quick work on that restart to get cleared. Those two clear, coming off at 2. And the rest of the field behind them, though, trying to work together as they continue to fully get up to speed here. It takes a little bit to get these engines fired and back up to speed, but right now it looks like a majority of these guys sort of riding or putting themselves into that top line.
Yeah, these guys are on the top. The top seems to be the faster line as we go on in this race so far. But that bottom side will get quicker as more cars join the line. A little bit of a shake-up there. Reese Schaefer, Trevor Brownlee. Brownlee was out of the pack there. Probably trying to get air. He really shouldn't need that many airs. He might just be leaving it out a little bit, but these guys are trying to do everything they can to win this race tonight.
And that's a good thing to mention, Jacob. If you remain behind somebody for too long, you can definitely overheat these cars. You see, that's a 13 of Sheldon Atkins finding himself in the middle. Once again here, he's been off to a rough start, been looking to move himself up through the field, but you got to be able to keep these temperatures down. You don't want to be too far behind somebody on their back bumper and risk blowing that engine, so you need to be able to get clean air when you can through some of these corners.
Yeah, clean air is key. And now we look at Sheldon Atkins. They're 3 wide. And there's a little bit of, I believe that's Colby Jackson right behind him trying to push him. Now Atkins going to go down to the bottom side. So now we're going to go back 2x2. And that bottom side is not really packed up together well, so they're not able to go anywhere. That top side is dominating right now.
And just as we say, I mean, with the Spirit cars on the inside lane, they'll be able to kind of gain momentum back on some of the straightaways. But really, I mean, with all these cars on the top side, you're going to need to be able to have some good pushers there on the inside right now. That's led by Curtis White in the 93. He's got, I believe, actually I can't quite tell who that is behind him. But, you know, if you want to start to make up some ground there on the bottom, you're definitely going to need to be hooked together. And, oh boy, that was a close call.
Yeah, it was almost around Curtis White. Now Edstrom's going to drop to the bottom side. And so is Cody Manson. Cody Manson on Edstrom dropping to the bottom side. And we got another one dropping to the bottom side.
So they saw that run coming on the inside. Although it stalled out for a second, that still opened the door for more drivers to move down to the bottom lane. That right now is led by Judson Curtis in the 29. Here he comes with help from behind. Cody Manson in the 2. Those two going to work themselves off at 2. They'll be even with Joseph Kazi. And now try and set themselves to get around Seth Berger in the tight. A little bit of a wiggle behind.
Yeah, Cody Manson must have gotten a bad push from the 87 Austin Edstrom. Really kind of brought that pack away from each other, strung it out. So now these guys are going to have to get all recollected and get back, try to get back to the front. As you can see, there's a couple guys trying to shoot the middle there. Colby Jackson, one of them.
And you saw what that did to that inside lane, Jacob. You know, I was just talking about how you need to be able to work together as best as you possibly can in that little bit of a bobble. It completely eliminated that bottom side, and now that's allowed this top side to really just remain where they're at. Berger continuing to lead the way there. Kazi, you know, probably wants to get to the lead, but also doesn't want to stall out the top side, so just remaining behind them for now. But you have to go all the way back to probably about 14 to see some of these guys start to make the move to make that inside lane come back to life.
Yeah, if you're Cosby now, you're sitting behind Berger. You're sitting in the catbird seat. You know, we talked about green flag pit stops. You know, you could save fuel sitting behind a guy. With Cosby, though, it'll be a little bit harder because he has to push that Berger, so he's full throttle. But those guys behind him will be easily able to save a lot of fuel sitting behind in the draft.
Yeah, fuel saving will definitely be something to watch as well here. You know, we talk about it all the time when they come to the super speedways. Says, ooh, maybe Berger getting a little bit squirrely there from a bump from Kazi, but any fuel that you can save out here on track under green flag, it means less fuel that you have to take in the pits, which can be a big difference, and that can get you cycled out to a probably better position to where you enter if you're able to hit your marks correctly. So, I mean, any time that these teams can save on pit road, they're gonna do it, and you start to see this bottom lane as well come to life. That's led by Colby Jackson in that 73. They've worked themselves up pretty decently here the last lap, but they're going to need to start clicking off some more drivers if they want a challenge for the race lead.
Yeah, and the problem is they're not packed up good enough. There's gaps in between the bottom side, and it's just not going to help you if you're not packed up together. As we see the 19 of Justin Levine with his fast repair, he's going to try and get through the field. And here we go. Now they're starting to bunch it up a little bit. And now they're going to try and keep taking that top side. But the problem is that the 33 behind Judson Curtis is not all the way behind Judson. He's leaving a little bit of a gap, and that's not going to help you if you're trying to get to the front.
Yeah, you want to be tied up as close to the guy in front of you as you possibly can. I mean, really, if we want to talk about how well you need to work, you really need the 3 cars that you have in that top lane. A little bit of a wiggle there out of the 13 for a moment. That could have been close, but you need the first and second driver to be close together, really doing a lot of the work, but you also need that third car behind to be able to keep that second car in line close enough to the guy that you're pushing. So, I mean, it really takes a team effort at these super speedway tracks, and you see the 77 of Sabilo starting to side draft that inside lane. I think he knows, oh, that was close out of Colby Jackson there to hop up in line, but you saw him start to side draft, maybe starting to see that these guys are maybe gaining some momentum, and he wants to slow those guys down.
Yeah, Colby Jackson making an aggressive move there. And he went right back down to the bottom, but the bottom side still hasn't worked. So I like that the move, at least you can get clear of Keegan Sabilo there for Colby Jackson and stay on the top side. He went right back down to the bottom. And we'll see if that bottom side can get packed up better.
Three wide back there for a moment. Sabilo now stuck in the middle. He's got help from the 2 behind. We'll see what they can do here. Maybe see if he decides to jump up in line, and it looks like he might remain there in the middle. So we got a car in the wall back behind them. Can't quite tell who that is. Oh, they're going to wreck.
That's going to cause one. Yep, that's going to cause a wreck, and we've seen that already happen once.
That's Kyra Mulaney in the 22 going around trying to figure out who the other driver involved was, who that was in the bright red. Couldn't quite figure out who it was, but there was definitely some driver who got up into that outside wall, which kind of, like you said, Jacob, we saw it once already with the driver getting into the wall, and just unfortunately the guys behind just nowhere to go, trying to avoid that slow car.
Yeah, and if you're not sticking onto the wall when you're already in the wall, that's what's gonna happen about every time. I've seen it a lot racing as a driver. You know, guys who hit the wall, they'll stick onto the wall so that they don't cause a wreck like that. So when you are on the wall, it's better off to just stick onto the wall so you don't come down and cause a wreck like that.
Yeah, and you know, that's what most drivers do. It's just sometimes there is that little twitch from inside your car where, you know, that split second where you're like, oh, I need to get off this wall, and next thing you know, that wall, it either keeps you stuck up against it or it'll sling you right off down in front of the field, which again we kind of saw right there, and we'll go back and take a look at it again, but couldn't quite tell who it was who initially got into that wall. We'll see if we can figure it out here. Oh, it's 93 of Curtis White.
Yeah, and Curtis, again, just got off the wall there, and it caused a chain reaction behind him. And, you know, it's unfortunate for the drivers. It's a racing incident. It happens. Nothing more that these drivers can do. Just kind of a chain reaction of the events going on in front of them.
Now that will help Justin Levine get back one of his laps. He was, I believe, still 2 laps down, but now showing as 1 lap. So kind of a lucky break there for Levine, but still will need help for another caution. And yeah, it doesn't look like he actually, doesn't look like, oh, there might have been some contact from the two, from Cody Manson. We'll see if we can get a good angle here. They were 3 wide, Cody Manson in the middle there. You see White up top. Oh, yeah, it looks like there was some initial contact that sent White into the outside wall. So that is what forced Curtis White up there.
Yeah, and again, Daytona's not like Talladega where you have all the lanes in the world. It's more tight and compact compared to Talladega. So 3 wide, 4 wide. It's a lot tighter here than it is at Talladega. Yeah, a little bit of contact there from Cody Manson, got in the wall, and he tried to get on the wall, and it just kind of caused a wreck behind him. And you know, speaking of Justin Levine, he was almost in that wreck. He was at the very end, or the very front of it.
Yeah, he was fairly close to not having the lucky break right here. You see him sitting right behind him. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't really look like Curtis White. It's not like he nudged too far off the wall, but I mean, just enough to where you see that chain reaction of those drivers trying to avoid and just getting together, like you said there, Jacob. And unfortunately, takes out Kyra Mullaney there in the 22, who goes for a spin. Although, looks like relatively some small damage, not anything major, but we'll probably have to come down pit road and get that checked out.
They're definitely going to need to get some new tires after doing a little burnout there.
For sure. A little too early to get that burnout done, but, you know, he unfortunately, it wasn't his choice of doing so. But I think the good news is he was at least able to keep it out of that inside wall, which we see sometimes it'll definitely be a pretty decent lick to these inside and outside walls. I mean, we talk about going back to Justin Levine, who had that hard lick into the outside wall, so could have definitely been a lot worse. But as we get things sorted out back here, more pit stops being made, things getting sorted out. Now Ian Blanchard looks like he will lead the field to green, as Kazi will be to his outside.
Yep, Kazi will be on that outside and looking in prime position to take the lead back here, as Kazi has led a lot of this race tonight. Again, most laps led in this race so far.
So Blanchard staying out here. Looks like he is one of 2 drivers. No, one of 3 drivers who's stayed out here under this caution. Those drivers, though, are kind of scattered throughout the field. One of them is Levine, who obviously did not get a pick after taking that lucky dog. So as we get set to take the green flag once again, majority of these guys will be on probably some fresher tires and a full tank of fuel. And if you're Ian Blanchard with a little bit lower of fuel in that race car, that could definitely affect the handling. We'll see how he can handle it. Kazi, though, like you said, Jacob, looking to get back to the front, even though he is on that front row. We'll see if he can take the race lead back. Into the restart zone we go. Green flag in the air once again. Blanchard on the inside getting help from Colby Jackson. Jackson now, just barely slides in front of Kazi there. That almost turned into a wreck.
Yeah, Colby Jackson throwing some aggressive blocks here. That might cost him later on in this race. We got 3 wide now. Colby Jackson, Ian Blanchard. So now what Ian Blanchard wanted to see is he's now going to get shifted back a little ways because there's nobody else to help him. And we got one sideways.
Checking up in the back as well. Oh, we got one spinning sideways. Looks like we will keep it green though, but I believe that was the 71 of Thomas Stokes. So he, for a moment, goes around as we are actually wrecking coming up at 4. So a lot happening right there. Reese Hamilton involved in that one. I don't know if anybody else was involved. We'll see if... Looks like Aaron K has maybe some damage. Can't quite tell. A little bit hard to tell with that paint scheme if he has any damage or not, but at least for sure Reese Hamilton in the 4 getting involved in that. And again, that was Thomas Stokes in the 71 who went towards the inside wall there, was able to get it saved, but loses a bunch of positions. And Jacob, that actually could have saved him because he, I believe, was sort of right there with where this started. So maybe a lucky break for Thomas.
Yeah, definitely a lucky break there. He was able to get that caution, luckily, and didn't go a lap down, I believe. Though this does give Justin Levine the lucky dog, so Levine should be on the lead lap. I'm not too certain, but if that's the case, the 19 will get both his laps back and will be back on the lead lap. And, you know, he's definitely always one to watch on these super speedways. The super speedway king, as I call it. He is so good on super speedways on this service. One of the best I've probably ever seen.
Yeah, he will for sure be one to watch out for. And we'll probably have about 24, 23 laps to go when we get the green flag back in the air. But I would probably say, Jacob, both us knowing him, it'll probably only take him half of that, if even that, to get himself inside the top 10 to top 5. Although he'll need to continue to have some decent luck with being out of these wrecks that have happened so far tonight. We're going to mention and continue to mention it about that hard hit to start off the race, but ever since then, just kind of riding to get back onto the lead lap. And let's go back and see what happened to Reese Hamilton here. Oh, apologies for that. That was the wrong button. All right, let's try this again. So the checkup here, first starting on the back straightaway, you see really Kazi right there on the bottom lane. I think that's Brownlee in the 57 as well. Those guys having contact, which checked up a lot of these guys. This 71 of Thomas Stokes, barely able to keep it out of that inside wall. And then as we focus the back up to the 4 of Reese Hamilton, it looks like he gets tagged in the right rear.
Yeah, he got tagged in the right rear. Was that Aaron K that went through it there? I couldn't. Yeah, that was Aaron K that got right through it there, so there's his damage. And yeah, Hamilton getting tagged in the right rear. Let's see if maybe it was because of someone that came up. Or, let's see, we're going to go into turn 3 here. It looks like who was that? The 82 just came down a little bit, tagged him in the right rear, and it all chaos ensued afterwards.
Yeah, you know, I don't think that was really purposeful. You know, that wasn't done on purpose. Really, a lot of chaos going down right there. I mean, you know, the whole stack up right there. Then you see the 71 going towards that inside wall with a great save. And then really just everyone getting shuffled through here. 3, almost 4 wide, and unfortunately just Chris Hamilton with the contact from I believe I believe that was the 82 that we just said. Just unfortunately, that will put him back behind back behind the race for a little bit, and at least on the pit road. And I'm not sure if he'll get back out of here. We'll have yet to see that, but either way, a hard hit there again for a driver in this race into 3 and 4.
Well, we talked about we don't know if they're going to have green flag pit stops. The answer to that question is no. I do not believe we will have a green flag pit stop in this race tonight, which it's a super speedway. It's going to happen. You're going to have some cautions. You know, everyone, especially in a new season, everyone's learning each other and learning the racecraft. So no green flag pit stop is the census there, but these guys are going to continue to battle it out for the 24 laps, and they will make it a show. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, and you mentioned something good right there. You know, like you said, these guys just trying to get accustomed and used to each other. That's really why we've seen so many of these, I wouldn't say major mistakes, but some of these minor and smaller mistakes that have happened out there on the track so far tonight. You know, new guys racing new faces, older guys, you know, trying to get accustomed to some of these guys who are making their first starts in the series. So, I mean, yeah, you kind of have the general idea of what people will be like, but you never know. And with someone that you haven't raced around before, it can sometimes be a little bit sketchy. And again, we've seen some small incidents kind of result in bigger incidents at the end of it. But the eyes will shift to Colby Jackson and Reese Schaefer as they will lead the field to green here. Pace cars off on the pit road this time by. When we get the green flag, we will see 23 laps to go in the season opener here from Daytona as we get back racing. Colby Jackson with a great restart again. He'll slot up in front of the 17 of Reese Schaefer.
Yeah, and guess who's right behind him? Joseph Goss is waiting in the wings. He is third right now, trying to get back to that lead.
Kazi, Schaefer, Jackson, your top 3. Brownlee, Savilo right behind them, waiting in the position to maybe make a pounce later. But these top 5 slot themselves up at the top of the track and have no real competition from behind. You have to go back at least a car length or 2 on the inside to see those guys start to form up on the bottom. But is it enough cars to really make a move in that bottom lane?
Yeah, not really right now. There's not enough cars to make a move just quite yet. There still needs to be a couple more cars join them. It could work, though. It also could work. It just depends on how close they are together. They need to be knotted up right behind each other for this to work. So we'll see if they can catch the front. And it looks like they're doing a good job of it right now.
Now, Jacob, we know that towards the end of these things, drivers look to move themselves up by making maybe a little bit more aggressive moves. With all these cautions that we've seen tonight, when do you think the right time to make that move is if you're sitting outside the top 10?
I mean, I would say probably 5 or 6 laps to go. You have to do it a little early. Not too early, but if you want to gain positions, you have to do it with some laps left so you can at least have a spot. You've seen it time and time again with some of these guys trying to make a move on the last lap, maybe try and gain some spots, and it just doesn't work. So you need to do it with like around 5 or 6 laps to go. So I imagine that's kind of the marker where guys will start trying to make a move.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, you don't want to do it too late. You kind of wanted to find that sweet spot, and I agree with you. I think about that 5 to 6 lap to go mark is probably the sweet spot to make it, but you also got to remember that any cautions would really probably put that plan in the trash bin. So you'll see these guys probably start to pick up here. You see a little bit of 3 wide action, further backing up pack. Guys now maybe trying to move themselves up. That's Judson Curtis in the 29 in the middle.
Yeah, and here you go. You're going to start to see a 3 wide right there with Causey, Berger, and Brownlee. Oh, and there's going to be a wreck. I could see that coming from a mile away. Brownlee's going to spin out. It's going to save it. He did a 360. What a save.
No caution. What a heck of a drive. And it doesn't look like there's any secondary incident from that. So unfortunately for Trevor Brownlee, he loses a lot of ground, goes for that spin. But luckily for the rest of the field, they get on by without issue. But you see, once again, Jacob, that really sort of shuffled things up again. They were 2 and 3 wide, and now a lot of these guys shuffled out to that top side, and so that inside lane has all but dissipated.
Yeah, and now you're going to see guys who are on the top, who are on the bottom going to the top. Berger's still on the bottom. Would have had help with Jordan Berry, but Berry's going to go to the top side. And again, Jordan Berry is the sponsor of the series, the Rapid by JB Premier Series, so he'll always be one to watch. As, ooh, the 81 right there got a little tight. I believe that is the 81 of Max Service. He's going to fall in line behind Seth Berger. And they're going to try and momentum or mount a charge on the bottom as the 67. Don't make your 6-7 jokes in the chat. He will have the lead.
Well, we're under 18 laps to go here as we work ourselves around the racetrack. The laps winding down. We're going to go ahead and take our one and only side-by-side commercial break here, guys. You won't miss a thing, though, and we'll be right back with you for more racing from the Rapid by JB Premier Series season opener from Daytona International Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, great team. We'll execute. Our time. We know what we got to do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction.
Side by side, hammer down.
The after-jets are lit. Count out anybody who wants it the most.
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. Victory, this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag has been ended.
Does he have enough? Holy cow! A dominant performance.
You gotta say no, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can in one final shot.
Gotta earn this thing right here to the end.
It is all on the table.
Daytona 500.
Your
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Raps by JB Premier Series, live from Daytona International Speedway for this season opener. Clicking down the laps, we are now within the last 13 laps of the race, and Jacob, things are starting to heat up on that bottom lane on the inside. They are led by, I believe that's Sheldon Atkins on the bottom.
Yeah, Sheldon Atkins on the bottom side with Cody Manson and Keegan Sabilo right behind him. They're going to try and mount a charge on the bottom side. And he is going to try and go to the front, making very good progress on that bottom side. So here we go, 13 laps to go, and we are seeing drivers make some moves to try and get themselves to the front.
Yeah, the field now starting to show a little bit more aggression, a little bit more pushing. You see Atkins still trying to work that inside lane. He's got Manson behind. If maybe these two drivers can clear up a little bit further, do you think we maybe see Schaefer or Causey take a look to the inside and go with the momentum?
Well, I don't know about it now because we're going to see a big bobble from the 13 to 2. Didn't get the greatest of pushes out of that bottom side. Just cannot get strung together. And that's the problem. That's been the problem the entire race tonight is the bottom side just cannot get working together to get to the front. And if they do try to get working together, it just something happens. There's a bobble. So that bottom side not really working out.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that's at least second time that we've seen him have fairly decent speed. Oh, a big move there out of Keegan Sabilo to go to the bottom, but that's the second time that we've seen this bottom lane get close to the front and then dissipate because of some mistake there, either a bump gone wrong or some sort of checkup happening. So this bottom lane, they're going to need to work together. Right now, though, Keegan Sabilo says, I want to be the leader on that inside lane, and he'll lead the hard charge to the inside, although they still have a lot of ground they have to make up to be even, if not have a chance with that outside lane.
Yeah, we saw some lap cars in front of the pack. That could always cause calamity as well with two lanes. So we'll see if they can get around these lap cars easy, and it looks like the top side will. Will the bottom side be able to do the same? Oh, it's gonna be tight, but they will be able to get it done. Oh,
a little bit of shuffle.
We got one down on the apron.
Yeah, a little bit of shuffle further back, Jacob. That definitely could have been close one back there. That was a 74 of Ian Blanchard, who they were going to lap. So he goes down one lap. Again, he's gotten a piece of a few incidents there, and they're catching up to another driver ahead. Can't quite tell who that is, but another driver in jeopardy of going a lap down here, as now we see 9 laps to go.
9 laps to go in this one, and the bottom side still not going anywhere. We are 3 wide, 3 by 3 by 3 now. And we were almost 4 wide for a second there, but they were able to get it back to 3. So now it's going to be even harder for the bottom side. And man, these guys are doing a lot of shuffling.
Oh, that was a close call there. I think that was Atkins again with a close moment. But like you said, Jacob, back to 3 wide. Oh, a little bit of contact right there coming off at 4. I think that's Curtis White on the top side, who maybe got a bit of a nudge there from the 62 in the middle. But they're able to sort it out, and they'll work themselves back around here to see just under 8 laps to go, and a few cars in that outside wall. That could be a checkup on that top side, but they keep themselves under for the moment as these top 5 leaders up at the front continue to go without any pressure from behind.
Yeah, no pressure from behind, because that bottom line cannot get strung together, and they are trying everything they can to get strung out together, and it just will not work. So it makes me wonder if any of these guys are going to try the bottom. I assume they're going to try the bottom at the end of the race on the white flag, but man, that bottom side has struggled tonight.
Can Sabilo find enough help from behind? He's got Jordan Berry in the 7. Those two going to be nose to tail here as they come down the back straightaway, trying to make some noise on that inside lane, although they have to get collected just a bit better, maybe needing a few cars as well. Will we see Kazi or Reese Schaefer step down here? They're up to third and they're up to fourth, now trying to get up to the third driver on that top side. Good momentum that lap, Jacob.
Yeah, great momentum, and here they go. They figured it out. The bottom side got working together, and here they come. Keegan Sabilo leading the charge on that bottom side. He's going to get to Reese Schaefer's door, and he's going to keep on chugging. Will we see somebody from that top side try to drop to the bottom here?
Yeah, what do you do if you're Neil up at the front? You have to control both these guys, but you also got a teammate of Colby Jackson behind you, and we know how aggressive Colby Jackson can be. Will he be the one to maybe step out on his teammate? But you also see these guys on that top lane. They noticed they started to come down the track a little bit to try and side draft that inside lane and pull them back, and it works there for the moment. They lost a little bit of ground that lap as we see 5 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, this is where I said you want to start to make a move, and there goes Ozzy and Schaefer trying to go down, and he saves. He's going to go back up the track. I don't know. There it is. That's going to cause... Did they save it? They're
trying.
Nope, they did not save it. They were trying to, and there it was. I had a feeling. I saw Reese Schaefer coming back up the track, and that did not look good, and sure enough, the one of John B. Wilson is around for the caution.
And like you mentioned, the driver who got sent down there after contact from the 18 of Joseph Kazi, Reese Schaefer in the 17, tried to keep it down there, but Jacob, we both know that once you get down below that apron, especially at the speeds that they're carrying, with only a couple hundred feet left in till you see the corner in front of you, I mean, you really just have to hang on for dear life and hope that the drivers around you avoid it getting into you.
Yeah, and that's something that's very unfortunate for Reese Schaefer. I mean, he was working well with Kazi. They were doing so well, and one thing goes wrong, and now we have a caution, and Reese Schaefer is buried deeper into the pack, so he'll have to work it out and figure out or try to get in some positions back and see if he still has a chance. I mean, it is Daytona, so everyone has a chance to win. It's just about where you're at and being in the right place at the right time.
Well, let's take a look and see how this one happened behind them. I mean, we saw the initial contact from Kazi and Schaefer, but we'll go back and take a look at it again. And actually, if we go back a little bit further, I mean, we can take a full look at it here. As you see, looks like Kazi was initially the one to go down there. Looks like he wanted to make a move to the inside and maybe get some of that momentum from behind built up. But then you see behind him just, trying to move up to avoid it and let Reese Schaefer come through. Judson Curtis there, the one of John Wilson getting the most significant damage from that with a hard hit to that outside wall, nose first, kind of like we saw a lot of these drivers earlier in this race do. But I mean, overall, I mean, that's kind of just something that happens, unfortunately, towards the end of these races. Jacob, you know it as well as I do. The more aggression level that picks up towards the end of these things, you're going to have smaller things like that again result into much bigger incidents at the end.
Yeah, and that is just the unfortunate part of it, as now we are going to be under caution with 3 laps to go. And for Reese, I mean, it's going to be tough again to try and gain all those spots back as we watch it back here, and he just comes back up the track, and tags John B. Wilson, and John B. Wilson's going for a ride here. Oh. I believe that motor blew for John B. Wilson as well, and Curtis White hits him there at the end.
Yeah, Curtis White not having a good night either. He unfortunately has been caught up in yet another wreck. Not really his doing this time, but same corner unfortunately there for White, Curtis White there. So Curtis, getting away from this one relatively easy, but will be a little bit further back because of that. Now, as we wrap things up here towards the end of this, make sure you guys tuned in for the post-race coverage that'll begin once the checkered flag waves. You'll be able to hear from our top 3 finishers, including the race winner. So if you want to stick around for that, be our guest. And again, I think it'll be a nice little sort of discussion to have with some of these drivers. Right now, we have no idea how this race is going to go. It's a super speedway. These things can go from being predictable to being changed in about a split second. So even though we will get a sort of a little lap or a little last lap shootout here at the very end, we still have yet to determine our race winner. And you'll see Jackson will be on the outside, Neil on the inside. Kazi will be the third driver in that inside row. And then you look to Philip Brewer on the outside in that second row. So there's some good names in these front few rows. You have Jordan Berry there as well. Jacob, on this restart, what do you think you need to do to be able to put yourself in the best position if you're in that second row like Joseph Kazi, or even if you're in that third row like Jordan Berry is?
First of all, you need to have a good restart, and then after that, you need to be able to have a teammate, have somebody be able to help you try and get around some of these guys. It's going to be tough, especially with 2 guys in front who are teammates. It's going to make things a lot harder because those guys are going to be able to control both lanes. So it's going to make it tough. You need to have a teammate, someone to help you try and get around these guys.
The teammates will definitely play into a big factor at the end of this thing. We're getting set to take what will be the green flag with 2 laps remaining. Again, these 2 on the front row, Neil and Jackson. They've been working well together here since the end of stage number 1. Can those 2 complete it out and settle the win between themselves? They got a hungry Joseph Kazi right behind him in row number 2. Philip Brewer, Jordan Berry as well, joining them inside the top 5. Here we go into the restart zone. Green flag in the air. Who will it be here for the season 1 or the season 5 season race 1 opener?
Trying to hang down there on the bottom side. Not a lot of help from Jordan Berry. So it's going to be the 67 of Neil and the 73 of Colby Jackson out front. That bottom side is kind of strung out, and that's not what you want with 2 laps to go. They're going to have to make up a lot of ground here quick. And now Keegan Sabilo is going to drop to the bottom, so he's going to have to try and make up ground. And there goes Colby Jackson going to block him. And he's going to make it work.
Yeah, what a block out of Colby Jackson. Although watch inside there, 3 wide for second. Neil now has to defend each one of these lines as they see the white flag in the air. This time by 3 wide behind him. A little bit of contact there. Jordan sideways there out of the tri-oval into 1. Here comes Joseph Kazi in the middle. Sabilo clear for second. Sideways behind him, trying to save it. Leaning and wrecking off of one other. That's the big one.
Oh, yeah, that's the big one. We got flipping. We got everyone wrecking. Wow, that's a big wreck. But Keegan Sabilo and Neil going to try and figure it out. Kazi behind him. Who will it be?
Through the last set of corners. One last chance for Keegan Sabilo. Joseph Kazi. Can they make the move on Neil? Coming to the tribal. Neil tries to block. Sabilo to the bottom side at the start-finish line. Oh!
It's going to be Neil, I believe, got it.
Yeah, I think Neil just barely nudged over Sabilo there at the very end. for the race win. And boy, another close one at the line. We'll have to take a look at that. Some contact after, though, after collecting the checkered flag, gets him up into the outside wall. So a little bit of damage there on Carson Neal, but he hangs on and will collect the season opener from Daytona.
Man, what an impressive drive for the 67 of Carson Neal to be able to win his first race in his first start. 1 for 1 in that 67 machine. So congrats to him on the win. And man, what a finish it was.
Yeah, it was a crazy finish to start off with our season opener. Carson coming around to celebrate here on the front straightaway. He'll burn it down with what was such a close finish at the very end. And boy, well earned. And congrats to this 67 team on getting the victory here tonight and making the right moves, throwing the right blocks, and starting off this season strong. So the two drivers there, Colby Jackson going to come join Neal and celebrating at the start-finish line. Colby finishing in 4th there at the end of it. But as we celebrate here, we have to take a look at the finish, because boy, that was such a close one. And for a moment, I couldn't quite tell who nudged out for the top spot, but it goes to Neal. And we'll pull it up here on the side-by-side screen as these two continue to celebrate here. Whoops. And actually, I might have just hit the wrong button. Hold on, folks. We'll have to go back and take a look at it here in just a moment again. All right, now we got it working. So let's take a look back at this finish here. So what looked like was going to be enough of a push there on the bottom from Sabilo and Kazi ends up those two beating and banging. Sabilo trying to work Neal up towards the track, but Neal hanging on at the very end. We'll play it back there in slow motion once again, and at the line just by half a splitter, if even that. Neal nudges out for the race win. But boy, what a crazy last lap turn of events there, Jacob. That could not probably have been any closer, even if we tried to script it.
Yeah, no, that was a great finish to the end there. And man, these guys put on a show for those last 24, 25 laps, and it was a great finish to the end of this race. So shout out to everyone who came out tonight for a fantastic finish.
Well, let's go ahead and go with our race winner, Carson Neal, standing by on the start-finish line, as well as victory lane. That's great finish there at the very end. You're just able to hold off Keegan Sabilo and Joseph Kazi behind you, but it was a close one. Tell me about what was going through your mind there coming through the tri-oval.
It was definitely just block as much as I could and just make sure not to get Keegan or Kazi anywhere near the side of me, especially because Colby got dropped back a little bit. But I mean, I couldn't thank Colby enough. I couldn't think I have no words for this. This is amazing win. Probably one of my first ever wins in a big super speedway. I only run road courses, but I couldn't thank Wide Open Network enough for this and letting me run with them.
Yeah, and you talk about having a good push there, Colby Jackson. You two really, ever since the end of that first stage at lap 25, I believe it was, you two got hooked up and really were able to be in control for a lot of that last portion of the race. Obviously, on that last lap, you guys got split up a bit, but ultimately, a great job by you two to work together. Was that really the plan, was just to find each other and stay as tucked up with one another as you possibly could during tonight's race?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was the plan ever since the first lap. We qualified 14, 15, 16 with me, Colby, and Nick, and for the entire race, it was just find each other and just push each other for the entire thing.
And that you guys for sure were able to do, and it made it look relatively easy compared to some guys who looked like they had a little bit of trouble when trying to do what you guys did there. But as you start off the season strong, I mean, you know, we want to focus on momentum, but we are off next week, and we come back August 30th at Phoenix Raceway. So you have a little bit of a pause from the season opener to our second race. But I mean, when you look into the, bigger picture sort of things, what really kind of start to the season does this do for you?
It definitely gives me a really good hope for this championship for this entire season. Definitely just go for Rookie of the Year this year, and then maybe next season we can go for the championship.
Well, I love the sound of that, and definitely starting off with maybe what could be a driver that some of these other guys have highlighted and will have to watch out for throughout the season. Before we let you go celebrate here in Victory Lane some more, is there any shouts or any sponsors you'd like to give or thank?
I'd like to thank everyone in the Wide Open Network family, Colby Jackson, Nick, Tiago Fernandez, Riley Park, Sarah Bradley, everyone in that community. I'd like to thank all my sponsors, Intech Oil, BSI Racing, and just everyone that's helped me with this. Full Sim Sims, which is a really good sim company, by the way. If you ever want to get your next sim rig, give them a call. And yeah, that's pretty much everyone. But I'm just really stoked to get this win, one of my first ever Super Speedway wins.
Well, congrats on the race win there, Carson. Hopefully this can be the first of many times that we speak to you in Victory Lane, and we look forward to seeing what you can do this season.
I hope so. Thank you.
That was Carson Neal, our race winner. I mean, you hear how stoked he is. And Jacob, to be able to come out here with the race win for the season opener and being so close there at the end, I mean, really, you hear the excitement and the enthusiasm out of him. But from a team standpoint, I mean, starting things off right with race win number one with getting the checkered flag, I mean, that's just got to be so much more relaxing to maybe not have to worry about something later on down the road, whether it's an incident and you get maybe a little bit of a bad week where you lose some points. It's good to get these wins in the season early on.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. A win like that is very impressive and shows that you've earned it. So congrats to Carson. He will get the win, the first win in the Raps by JB Premier Series of this season. And man, to do it on your first start, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, first start in the series, just being able to manage all of the sort of excitement and the pressure. He was able to do that with style and, again, help from his teammate Colby Jackson behind. Let's go ahead, though, and pull up our second place driver. Jacob, I'll let you take Keegan away here.
Yeah, and I'm standing by with the number 77 of Keegan Sabilo. And first of all, Keegan, I want to ask, how was your first race in the series tonight?
Yeah, it was a blast, man. It's always fun to just get to come out here and run with some friends, right, on a Sunday night. And, really professional league. It's a really good group, so I'm happy to be able to join. I'm happy to survive Daytona in P2, for sure, with the way the points are set up. Looking at taking a run for the championship here, it's always good to survive the wild card and make something decent out of it to set ourselves up for a decent spot for the season.
Were drivers more aggressive than you thought tonight, or was it kind of about what you expected for a super speedway, especially with it being the first race of the season?
Yeah, I mean, the aggression level was certainly up, but I don't think it was, over aggressive, right? I think it was just super speedway racing with the way the package is. You just can't give up your right side. And if you make a run to the bottom, you're going to be very aggressive, and these cars are very sketchy with pushing. So overall, I think the racing aggressive-wise is probably pretty average from what we see for Super Speedway racing. It put on a great show, hopefully for everybody to watch. I mean, it was fun from behind the wheel, right? But everybody was definitely track position was more important, I would say, than normal, with as important as it was to not give up your right side. So you definitely had to make something happen, and I think that's why we've seen a lot of the aggression level, or the high aggression level, just because drivers needed to kind of force the issue a little bit and take bigger chances, because you really only had one opportunity to get in line, or until you had to restart all over again if you didn't take that chance and take a couple laps to rebuild and then get back up there.
Yeah, we saw the bottom line struggle a lot tonight. Was that just because the way people were getting packed up, leaving gaps, or was that just because the top was just stronger?
Yeah, it was definitely, the top was a lot stronger just because of the side draft, right? So the bottom was making great headway until we started having guys from the top lane jump down the middle and start to side draft, and then it breaks the whole bottom lane apart and kind of creates a little bit of a accordion effect and pulls everybody off at the side draft and basically just breaks up the whole line. And then as the top, we would be able to be rolling. But the problem is being up on the wall, you leave so much room. So it's trying to coordinate to get down to the middle and side draft properly. And obviously, if there's people you don't have in Discord, it's very easy to be taking 3 wide middle, which I know happened to me once and some others as well. So it made it interesting, because was it worth the risk to go down and side draft, or is it good to just stay in the wall and kind of let the bottom keep on going by? But yeah, I mean, overall, it was very racy tonight, that's for sure. You really had to be very strategic with track position and how you were going to get it if you didn't have it, or how you were going to keep it if you're up front, because it was easy to make one bad move and it just go away like that, just instantly.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with a couple more questions. One last question before I let you thank your sponsors and stuff. How does this impact your momentum tonight, this second place finish? You know, newcomer to the series, technically second start, you could say, for the Clash, but how does this impact your momentum, and how does this second place finish make you feel throughout the rest of the season?
For sure, yeah. I mean, I definitely would. Obviously, second kind of sucks, right? But I know that for a championship purpose, second at Daytona to start the year, really good spot in points. Tonight was a really good night. Actually, an hour beforehand, not even an hour beforehand, I ended up running the all-track challenge at Concord in the street stocks with Watcher Games, and through Motorsports was able to pull off that W against iRacing, who's a really good street stock racer. So that was pretty fun. It was fun getting to jump in the O'Reilly's car tonight and compete. And yeah, I mean, the track's coming ahead, right? Phoenix has always been, I think, pretty decent, hopefully, right? With my short track background, obviously not an exact short track, but we'll kind of have some of those characteristics. And looking forward after that to go right in Dakota road courses. Recently, after a lot of work at Sonoma with Sam and the guys, and we've been really good there at those type of racetracks, and got some stuff we got to work on for that, but I feel like we'll be pretty strong and have a really good chance of maybe pulling off a top 3, if not a win for that. But yeah, I mean, great to start building momentum, and hopefully we can kind of use it to snowball into what should be some really good racetracks for me, and kind of get ahead a little bit early, and try and not coast through, but be able to use that points buffer to kind of just let everything naturally happen and put ourselves in a good spot, getting ready to looking all the way ahead to the chase.
All right, well, with that being said, I'll let you thank who you got to thank for your second place run tonight.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you. Yeah, first off, thank you to my teammates. The ones some guys were fun to run with tonight, and huge shout out to Kazi. I was talking to him beforehand, but he stayed loyal to me at the end. It didn't work out, but ultimately for us. But he could have left me in different points and trying to get second and all that, but he stayed with me and gave ourselves the best shot for our team to win. But it was really fun working with him, Reese, Justin, Austin, Jordan, all the guys. Cody, shout out to Cody, because that man did incredible tonight for being a part-timer and kind of getting just to this level on the sim. So proud of him and his performance as well tonight. But yeah, no, thank you to all the sponsors in the car: Mac Tools, Keens for the Racing, Team Needs You, After Hours Restorations, Crawford Auto Repair, International Union Operating Engineers, Local 324, McAllister Cat, Stagger Media Co., Runnings Racing Design, Watcher Games, Admin Box, everybody that makes it possible and supports me and is in my corner going forward. And we will get ready for some more racing coming up next weekend. Thank you to Bryce and everybody who puts on this series. It's really fun, and I'm fortunate to be able to be here and get to run on Sunday nights. And lastly, thank you to you guys for putting on a great broadcast. And most importantly, thank you to the viewers, all the fans that tuned in tonight. Hopefully we put on a good show for you guys, and encourage you to watch the rest of the season. It's going to be a fun season. A lot of talent, a lot of really good drivers here. So if you enjoy what you've seen tonight, definitely tune in for the next few here, because it's about to be a good one.
All right, Keegan. Well, congrats on your second place finish. We'll let you go ahead and celebrate that with whoever you may talk to. and we will bring up Joseph Causey, the third place finisher, who will be standing by with Oscar.
Yeah, I'm standing here with Joseph Causey, defending series champion, which, Causey, I know it feels like it wasn't too far ago that we were just crowning you the champion at the end of last season, but coming out this season with a good finish there at the very end. You started third on that final restart, got a little bit shuffled back there, but ultimately coming home right where you started that restart at. So in terms of the big picture, I think tonight was a good night for you and that team. There was a few moments there where it might have been sketchy, especially that contact between you and Schaefer there towards the end. But, ultimately to come home tonight with a third-place finish, that's got to be a good, feel-good story coming out of a place that is known to not be so nice to some of these defending series champions.
Yeah, for sure. Basically this place is luck of a draw, especially if you get on the high lane. Like tonight, high lane was dominant. It was so hard to pass on the bottom or even try to get a bottom pass done because the side draft was insane. I was kind of hoping we would have got that extra 10% for this race, just to make it a little more sketchy on the tires. But maybe not, because now how much wrecks we did have. But it wasn't as bad, I don't think. But I would have loved to see maybe tires would have played a factor in pushing up and stuff. But other than that, man, to come out, come third, or come in third and come out third and get a stage win and everything, I'm going to take it.
You really checked off a majority of the boxes besides, getting the race win. But, I'm going to go back to something that you just mentioned, the horsepower increase, which is something new that we've seen in this league. It's the first time that we've done it this time around for Season 5. Going through the previous seasons, I don't think we've actually done anything like that. So this season sort of brings something new. And I know you were there at the Clash at Charlotte, so maybe give some of these guys who weren't watching the Clash maybe what they can look forward to seeing out of you as well as the other drivers here as we move on through the season.
Tires are going to be a factor, man. You think you can push it as hard as you can, or as hard as you do in like the Bs, just on regular B fix and stuff. It's going to be a whole nother animal when your tires are all worn out with this little extra horsepower we got.
And like you mentioned, didn't see it tonight, but still saw drivers having their struggles out there. But, when we look to kind of you as a total this season, you were able to dethrone Reese of his little champion streak of wins that he was racking up. And, we always talk about you for what seems to be like a championship contender this season. We maybe see some new names that could potentially be a threat. But if you're looking at the bigger picture, do you see yourself getting to be able to have a chance to defend this championship?
I think for sure I couldn't possibly defend the championship or try to make a run for the championship. In 2 weeks we do have a road course, and I'm pretty dang good at the road courses. So we're probably going to look at using that provisional thing at the road course. So I'm probably going to use it there. That's going to be my ticket to try to get double the points at coming out of COTA.
Yeah, the COTA definitely a track that we will probably see you do good at. We've seen you run well here at the Daytona road course. Those two tracks pretty similar in terms of how they handle and sort of drive. But Causey, before I let you go here, debrief with the rest of your team on this third place finish, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank, any shots you'd like to give, or any last comments?
Thanks to everybody that did show up. Man, great field. Oh, finally we got a great field. That was fantastic. Had that many cars on track. We're all learning each other now, and hopefully we could not have as many cautions, but it wasn't that bad. I don't think. We had a good little run there, and And thank Johan Seminario for that beautiful Cal Bush paint scheme. And that thing's gleaming out there, boy. I tell you. And got to thank Jordan Berry for putting on the sponsorship for this league and everything. Man, this thing's turned out to be real bigger than what it was when it first started.
That is for sure it has, and we look forward to seeing you go and defend this series title, and as well as probably being a contender for almost probably every week that we'll have to watch out for you being up towards the front. Thank you again for taking a moment to speak with us, Joseph, and hopefully we can talk to you in a few weeks' time again.
Hopefully we can. Hopefully we'll see. I'll see you at Phoenix.
Alrighty, that was third place driver Joseph Kasi. Jacob, there's always a little bit of extra pressure when you come into the season opener being the defending series champion, and he was able to back it up with a third place finish. And heard maybe wanting it that little bit at the end there, but he settled for that third place and kind of knew that this season ahead really brings a lot more competition, and you need to be a little bit smarter on what moves you make towards the end of these races.
Yeah, and he did a great job of that tonight. Was able to dominate this race, lead a lot of laps, and still coming out with a third place finish, I think looks really good for him.
Yeah, definitely a podium at the end of these things. Always such a good positive. Let's go ahead and take a look and a swing to our race results here before we look to anything else. So let's pull those up here. Looking at our unofficial race results again, before any penalties, if there are any given out. Carson Neal, Keegan Sabilo, Joseph Kasi, Colby Jackson, and Kyra Mullaney will round out your top 5. A good rebound there from Kyra Mullaney, who almost looked like he was going to end up with a much worse finish, going around a couple of times there, but brings it home in 5th. And we looked at Jordan Trost, Christopher Hodges, Justin Levine, Max Service, and Xavier Fontes there in the 10th position. Fontanes.
Yeah, and after that, you have
go ahead.
Aaron Kay in 11th, Bryce Shoemaker in 12th, Curtis White in 13th, Philip Brewer in 14th. Cody Manson was up front all night, ended up finishing 15th. Sheldon Adkins in 16th. Keith Shoemaker in 17th. Nick Jezebowski in 18th. Austin Edstrom in 19th. And 20th, Thomas Stokes.
Going on to 21 to 30-ish, we see Seth Berger, Jordan Berry, Justin Day, Trevor Brownlee, Reese Schaefer, who they're getting probably what was going to be a better finish after the contact between him and Kazi. He finishes in that 25th position, so not the finish that he wanted. Patrick Firmoil there, finishing 26th. Jim Foskett, Derek Garrison, Nick Osapek, and Ian Blanchard will round out the top 30.
And after that, rounding out the field, you have James Bolka in the 3, Chuck Sweeting in the 75 in the 32nd, somewhere. John Wilson in 33rd in the 1. In the 34th position, Chase Galvin. 35th, Judson Curtis, and rounding out the field, wasn't able to get his car back running after that wreck, Reese Hamilton.
Yeah, definitely a bad night there for Reese Hamilton, who had a vicious hit to that outside wall, and like you said, not able to come back after that incident. Now, like we were talking about there, we look forward to our next track being Phoenix Raceway. We got to wait a little bit. Unfortunately, though, that'll be August 30th, same time here, same place on Turn Sector Media, 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll get the green flag and find out who can take race number 2 of the season. Again, August 30th. Make sure you mark your calendars and come back in and see who can take race number 2. Well, Jacob, we wrap things up here from Daytona International Speedway. A heck of a finish there at the very end. Carson Neal able to take the win away just slightly over Keegan Sabilo, who tried his hardest there at the very end. I don't think we could have asked for a better finish and a better race here for the season opener.
No, I agree. And before we get out of here, I want to take things away from the sim world for a little bit and give my thoughts and prayers to everyone in the Northwest Indiana region. This past Tuesday, a derecho storm hit Northwest Indiana and knocked out a lot of trees and a lot of power for the people, including myself, who's been out of power for 6 days now. I want to give all my thoughts and prayers to everybody out there. I know I've seen some trees on some garages, on some houses and stuff. So a house exploded. That was all over the news on Tuesday. So again, I want to give my thoughts and prayers to everyone in the Northwest Indiana region going through it right now. But man, after that, back to the racing stuff. It was a great race tonight. Carson Neal again getting his first win in his first start. Congratulations to him. And we will look forward to more action in 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks' time at Phoenix, I believe, correct? 2 weeks' time?
Yes, that'll be 2 weeks, August 30th. So unfortunately, it's a little bit longer of a break than what these drivers are probably wanting to, but maybe if you had a bad night here, that can be a little bit of a sigh of relief to look forward to the race number 2 of the season. But again, like Jacob said, congrats to Carson Neal. Thank you again to the sponsor here, Wraps by JB, for sponsoring the series this year. We look forward to seeing how this season plays out and who will be crowned this season's champion at the end. Until next time, guys, thank you for tuning in here on Turn Sector Media, and we will see you guys next time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, great team. We'll execute. Our time. We know what we got to do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction.
Side by side, hammer down.
The after-checks are lit. Count out anybody who wants it the most.
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his